Yeah, lie down. No, not on me. Not on me. You get your own chair. Oh, gosh. Come on, cuddle up then. Good morning, my friends. We have officially been living on our bus home for a month and living tiny, whether it's camping or on the bus, for 2 months. So I feel like at this point we're in a position where we can talk about the advantages and disadvantages of living tiny. I wrote a plus and minus list comparing the two, and so I guess at the end of the day, it's going to be your choice which side you take. Make sure to let me know down in the comments which one you are. Do you think you are all for tiny living or not? I'm going to start with what has been the most impactful for us first, and that is the fact that this is both an advantage and disadvantage of tiny living, and that is keeping the place clean. Okay, because it's a tiny space and we have 3 animals on board with us, as well as both having long hair ourselves and constructing the bus while we're living in it, it gets dirty really, really quickly. I mean, dusty, hairy, messy, all the things. And if you're a clean freak, that may not be your favorite thing. And that is definitely a disadvantage, that it does get dirty or messy really quickly. The advantage to that though is because it's such a small space, I can have the whole house vacuumed in the matter of 5 minutes. That's insane. You couldn't say that of a normal house. Same thing with lifting everything up and getting it out of the way really, really quick in a small space, because you have less surfaces, you have less floor, you have less things to actually clean. Now, another thing that can be obvious in a tiny home and is definitely a disadvantage is the lack of space that you have in the home. A lot of the time, Sam and I are having to be in the same room, or we can't really spread out as a family, and this can be really challenging for bigger families that have kids as well. For us though, we enjoy each other's company, and we have designed our bus in a way where it has sections. So we do have a bedroom and then we have the living room as well. And the advantage of, a bus or a mobile tiny home is that you do have the outdoor space as well. But this is definitely a disadvantage because there is fewer rooms to spread out in. I guess the counterpart advantage of this is because you're dealing with limited room, you are more likely to be more clever with storage solutions. You are more likely to take on the job of actually designing your space to your needs, and therefore having that custom build means that the spaces you do have in your tiny home actually suit what you need and what your family needs as well. Now, to go along with the space side of things, I think one advantage of tiny living is that you get to become a bit of a minimalist. You rely less on things, you rely less on owning more and claiming that next big thing, and it actually becomes very cost effective, but also reduces the amount of clutter and stuff you have in your space. Now, this might not be an advantage to you, and that's why I said pick your side and let me know down in the comments, because there are people out there that love things. They love having the newest bike or the next big computer or the coolest gadgets in the kitchen, and I'm all for that. And so this might be a disadvantage to you because living tiny means that you don't have a lot of space and storage to sacrifice, and so you can't just keep buying things and things and things because you'll end up flooding your space. While we're on the topic of space, another disadvantage is the fact that you are kind of having to get around each other in the space. As I mentioned before, we have 3 animals living in this 12.5 meter bus with us, and so there is always someone in your way, whether there's a cat laying on the floor or 2 dogs just like walking beside you, or even just having to get past each other in the hallway. We do have a lot of open spaces in the bus, but majority of it is quite tight. A huge advantage for the bus, and this is something that we haven't quite experienced too much yet because we haven't had too many weather extremes, but also we don't have everything set up in the bus properly yet, but a tiny home is a lot quicker and more efficient and cost efficient to heat and cool. Because it's such a small space, your air conditioner or your heating units work a lot quicker and keep the space cooler or warmer for longer, as long as you've got the place insulated correctly and not this many windows. We've been okay, but it's definitely been a challenge so far without air conditioning or heating. Not that we need a heater in summer right now anyways, but you get my point. One disadvantage that I think is more for people like myself who love to garden, who love to be out on their property doing lots of different types of jobs, living tiny, unless you are stationary, means that you don't have a garden because you're out on the road, or you're occupying other people's spaces, whether it be a caravan park, free camping, or someone else's property. So having a garden or your own space for those kinds of things is very difficult. One of the advantages in this sense though is the mobility of a bus or a tiny home on a trailer or on wheels means that you can explore and you can move from place to place, and if you're someone like us who thrives on change and chaos, then this is definitely an advantage for you. My camera battery died, so we are a little bit later in the day, but I have 3 more things that I want to tell you before this video is over. And the next one I'm going to tell you is an advantage. One of the main reasons to build a tiny home or convert a bus or build small in general is that you're going to have a lot of cost savings because you're not building so many rooms and using so many resources. In fact, for our bus, we used majority secondhand or salvaged materials, which reduced our costs like crazy. Really soon, I'm going to do a breakdown of the cost of converting our bus into a home, and I think the amount that the build has come to will actually shock you because it surprised me along the way, although I'm sure there's a lot of little areas where we paid for them that I may have forgotten to put on the list, but for the most part it was really cost effective compared to buying a $600,000 to $1 million home, which is just the nature of the market at the moment. Buying a home leads me into my final disadvantage of the bus, and that is that ensuring this kind of build, ensuring a converted motorhome or a tiny homes, even the cost of trying to make it legal to live in a tiny home on land in certain areas can be really tricky and can be costly as well. So I definitely recommend, if this is something you're wanting to do, look around for an area that actually suits you and also allows you to do this as a build. I hope you've enjoyed this video of advantages and disadvantages of living tiny. If you're interested at all in seeing our build or even seeing our life out on the road or living in this bus, then go check out our channel, Diane and Sam. You can also check out my channel, Simply Di, to see me homemaking in the space. It's been a lot of fun so far and we are only at the beginning, so there's a lot of great stuff to come and I can't wait for you to join our community. So see you guys next time. Our cat keeps laying in the most random places, and I think this is the randomest of them all. I have to show you. What are you doing in the sink? You crazy girl. You're crazy. I think she's testing out all the new places she can sleep. I love it. I love that each new element that we add in, she's like, oh, yeah, I can try this for a bed. Is that my bed?